All right, another Jimmy 2 update. Not a whole lot new, but I have my rudder, except for two little touch-up spots, ready for varnish. I'm still trying to figure out what kind of varnish I'm going to use. This is the final coat. I just finished a session of epoxying here and a little bit of fiberglassing, which I'll show you in a minute. These are the inner sides of the centerboard trunk. That's the I did one coat with the fiberglass just to fill to wet the fiberglass out. I did another coat of epoxy to fill the weave, and I decided I put one more on just for good measure, even though they don't really recommend it, but they also don't not recommend it, so I went for it. The rudder, I don't know what that's called, maybe the rudder cassette, is also done, except I had to just top off one of my holes there for the tiller handle. Once that dries, I can sand it and I can drill out the smaller hole inside of those two epoxied holes there. So that's it for those parts. I do have a mahogany. I did mahogany spacers for the insides of the trunk to hold the two trunk sides apart for the center board to go through the center. And I coated those edges with a good thick layer of epoxy as well, just for abrasion resistance. So that's that. Now moving over to the boat side of things here. I typically try and do some of the sailing components whenever I do boat components, and that way I'm epoxying more than just one thing at a time. Plus I could see myself maybe delaying on the sailing stuff if the boat's ready for rowing or motoring. And I'm really excited to sail it more than the other two, so I'm trying to get all that stuff done as I move on the hull here. So last time I talked to you guys, I had done the tapes on the edges of the fillet. Now in the bow is kind of my trial area because it's going to be covered over with that front deck. So I'm starting all my stuff there to kind of refine my technique, and then I move toward the stern of the boat. So now I have laid the whole entire piece of fiberglass up the sides and across the whole middle, one piece there, and wetted that out. I got to leave for work here for 4 days, so that'll be plenty of time for this to dry. So if I want to sand it when I get back, I can. But you can see I got my my other pieces of fiberglass cut. I have some over there next to the boat, draped over a chair. So I have all those pieces cut out more or less. I just need to cut the little slits on the corners so it goes up nicely in the corners. But that's that. Real quick, also, I have a fuel tank, and the big news is the other day I got my outboard. I went for a Mercury 6-horse. I found that these are really hard to find used. Honestly, I wanted a Yamaha, but they were more expensive and hard to get. So I didn't want to delay. Hopefully this is a great motor for me for many, many, many years. I keep stuff forever. I drive old cars and just keep fixing them. So there's the baby right there. I'm going to put a little more because they don't recommend a 6-horse. They recommend a 2 to 3. I'm going to put a larger piece, and I think I'm going to wrap the corner here with another piece of fiberglass just to reinforce it. And then there's going to be one more piece, which the plans call for, around this area for the motor to sit on. So that's super exciting. It hurt the checkbook more than I like to think about, but it wasn't. I've been looking for months and months, and I was just having a really hard time finding any 4-stroke outboard. And I'm in Colorado, which you wouldn't know with my Yankees clock, but don't hold that against me. What was I going to say? a lot of the lakes here in Colorado, you're not allowed to run a two-stroke, so that would have been a big problem. I could have found a two-stroke, but I didn't want to prohibit myself from any lake that I wanted to go to. So that's where I stand. I'm also thinking, if you guys have any ideas on this, let me know, because I've never done this before. But I think what I'm going to do is put the fuel tank in the front, in the bow. I got a 3-gallon one. It does fit down in there. And then I'm going to run the fuel line through the bench, which will be right here, all the way down. And then it'll come out like one of those little, probably 4-inch round hatches in the bench. Back to the motor. That way it's out of sight. The reason I'm doing that is I saw a lot of pictures and videos online with people motoring this boat, and they all tend to be positioning themselves fairly as far forward as they can. So I think with the motor, the weight of the motor, I think as much weight as I could get up into the bow, the better. That's my thought. I don't know how accurate it is, but that's what I'm planning on doing. The Mercury dealer, I ended up getting the motor at Bass Pro Shops. I asked the mechanic there about running that long of a fuel line, and he seemed a little skeptical, but I'm going to give it a try and see what happens. Hopefully it works out. So anyway, that's all I got for now. Let me look around here real quick. I think that's pretty much it. All right, guys. Well, next time I do a video, I'm hoping to have the other 3 sections with the main fiberglass laid, and I have a bit of sanding to do, so it'll probably be a little while before I get to that, but I gotta just keep plugging away here. So all right, until next time, take care.